Hello everyone, Nathaniel Gavronsky here, and I am on the top of Breeds Hill, where the Battle of Bunker Hill took place. Now, it is the night of the 16th of June, and this 250 years ago is where a bunch of men from Massachusetts and Connecticut and New Hampshire were gathering to build a redoubt because they found out that on the 18th of June, that the regular army of the British were planning on taking this area. This is just north of Charleston, around Boston. Over this way is Cambridge. Straight ahead of me is the city of Boston. Over here this is where going that way is Harvard University. In front of me is the Charlie River between me and the city of Boston, and this is the highest grounds on the northern end of the city. And for the regular army, they needed to control this because they were trying to prevent the siege of Boston from being successful, and then trying to find a way for the regular army to be resupplied from both Canada and from other land routes, as well as the sea that they had control over. But the Continental Army was warned that the regular army was planning on taking this area. The British regular army had started to fortify the Charleston area, and they ended up abandoning those fortifications because they had to shore up their lines because supply was so limited and they were running out of provisions. Ward and the Continental Army in the area was also in the same boat. Most of the people here had only planned on being a quick surge, winning or losing and then going home. So the night of the 16th, they decided that they were going to preempt the regular army strategy and take over this territory. Now, they were planning on taking over Bunker Hill, which is behind me and to my right, a little bit of a distance from here, but Breeds Hill actually had a better viewpoint of the city of Boston, and they were able to the Continentals were able to put sharpshooters in Charleston to try to fight against an invading regular army, and that's exactly what they did. So during the middle of the night, between the 16th and the 17th of June, the Continentals dug in right here, wearing civilian clothes in the dark of night. They knew they had to get this fortified and ready to go before daybreak, because once daybreak, the ships would in the harbor would be able to see them here, and then the regulars would know that they were here and that the battle would commence quite shortly thereafterwards. But they had hoped, since they were here a full 2 days, the 16th was 2 days before the 18th, that they would have enough time to get everything fortified, and that if the British regulars were to try to come in, they would have been fully prepared, and they weren't actually. So that's the plan as far as taking this area and holding it and getting it ready for the regulars to try to take it from them, which we knew that they were going to try to take this ground, worked. And it actually caught the British off guard enough that it even once the British regulars started to form on this peninsula overlooking the northern part of Boston, that their unorganized and rushed, attempt to get over here allowed for more reinforcements from, patriots from around the countryside to gather here, and all of the attempts to try to hold off the regular army from holding this high ground. Shortly thereafterwards, as the morning rose, as the sun rose in the morning after, the British regulars were preparing to come for the fight. So they had from that whole morning to prepare, knowing that the regulars were coming in force. And this is where the very first actual full-fledged battle of the American Revolution would take place. So here we are, the night of the 16th. This is right behind me, is where they would have been all night long, digging and fortifying this hill. Behind me is a statue of Prescott. He was the commanding officer of this militia, and for this whole operation here in Charleston. And this whole night preparing for the 17th was all about, we know that they're going to come as soon as they see us. But since we already have it, we can really try to prevent them from taking it and holding this high ground. Don't forget, this was the whole part of the siege of Boston. This was the long game now. This was who could hold out the longest, and neither side really had what it took to take the other side out in a decisive battle. So this is where the stage was being set, the 16th of June, for the battle that would become known as the Battle of Bunker Hill, because that was the original objective of both the Continental Army and of the British regular army, was Bunker Hill. But because this was a better position tactically, this is where the Continentals set up their fortifications, and this is the hill that the British would try to take first. So I want, like, again, when I do all these videos, I try to show you what the place looked like when it was happening. So 250 years ago tonight, we would see the beginnings of the Battle of Bunker Hill starting up because of the fortifications. Behind me, the flag that is waving is the flag that they fought under. That's the flag that the Patriots fought under during the Battle of Bunker Hill. So I thought it very fitting to have that flag in the background. So I will be here and I will show you guys this place a little bit more in detail in the morning and in the daylight, so you guys can see a little bit more of the Bunker Hill battlefield, and so you guys can see what it was, where these monuments are, and kind of understand a little bit more about the history that took place here. So until the morning, I wish you guys all a great night, and I hope to see you guys bright and early.